What is up, you beautiful people? Welcome back to the Built on Bitcoin podcast, where we're covering everything in the Stacks ecosystem. 2021 has been a headline for NFTs. We've seen penguins, rocks, and pictures of apes go for millions of dollars, all while paying thousands in gas fees just for the chance to get one of these pictures. But the tech is rough right now. It's similar to when we were printing out navigation on MapQuest and just reading street signs to get where we need to go, not even realizing that Google Maps was going to route you around traffic as it piles up and get you the best route. And I have a special guest today who's trying to bring that kind of usability to the currently rough NFT space and bring it to the masses. So this person is the CEO of Layer, and I want to welcome you to the podcast, Alla Koretsky.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jake. Thanks for the warm intro. Really happy to be here.
I appreciate it. I guess we should start with just giving the people a little bit of who you are, what's your background, and how'd you get here?
Yeah, I guess short and long story. Fell into this whole crypto space about a year and a half ago. My cousin, who's Gary Rieger, who's the CTO for Layer, actually just sort of pulled me in, gave me a call about a year and a half ago, said, hey, come out, have this meeting. He knew my background was in e-commerce. So I come from a fashion merchandising business degree. So I worked for one of the top fashion houses in New York. And then I went into contemporary fashion, but always kind of my brain works half analytical and half creative. So I love being, sort of in the merchandising aspect, seeing the entire product life cycle from idea to actually holding the product in your hand and seeing it out into the world. So, got into sort of e-commerce space really early on around 2006, was a part of a startup called Consign, which the founders went on to do Casper. So they were one of the first sort of social e-commerce platforms. Loved the whole startup scene, loved, an idea on a Monday, execution on a Wednesday, loved that whole sort of fast drive. Then got started to when sort of the subscription box phases were just coming out into the market. So one of the first employees for Bloom.com, which was a first subscription box company for parents and children. So really was a part of that project for about 5 years, stayed on board all through sort of seeing the growth from few hundred subscribers a month to over 20,000 subscribers a month. Saw sort of how to grow a company, and really loved the team and stayed through acquisition. They got acquired by an international company. So e-commerce and product was kind of my jam. And so about a year and a half ago, Gary called me, said, come have a meeting. I'm going to introduce you to Marina, who is now our CEO as well. So we just had this little idea, why don't we do an e-commerce to do for like a SaaS company. And but Gary's like, if we're going to do anything, we have to do it on using blockchain technology. So I have no idea what it was, like read it in newspapers here or there, but really nothing, fell down the rabbit hole, came out, 2 days later. And I said, yes, this is incredible. Really, we needed a tool like this on the supply chain aspect. Being a buyer, I knew very little about the products that I was sourcing, and consumers know even less about the products they're actually buying. So I'm like, here's the technology that can finally, be used for transparency, right? Like companies are saying they are green, they're saying that they are, women-led company, there's all these marketing, bullshit talk that's out there. But here now we can finally put an invoice on the chain and have a verifiable proof that, you in fact, this is, proof of story, right? So love the whole concept. We started working on this project. Started this company called Socks on Blocks, which kind of propelled us into being selected. And we actually won the Scale Challenge, which was part of the Walton Family Foundation. So they were looking for innovative companies sort of doing, things in sort of blockchain space. So won that competition, was supposed to pitch in front of investors last year. COVID happened, so that fell through. But it was kind of a great sort of a curse, and, it made us reevaluate where the business was. And really what we saw was this decentralized Dropbox was really the bigger product at play here. And really what we have built is this aspect of here's a file. So here's a lab result, a sketch of a product for, whatever it may be. But every product has a story, and every product has an invoice and proof of validation, right? So we essentially built this decentralized Dropbox that allowed brands to take a file and drop it into this decentralized thing, and you now have a blockchain record, right? So we built this product, and now through this decentralized Dropbox, we're able to do different commands, so different executions, different integrations. So one is you can push this information into the front end for the consumers to see how transparent a company is. And then another one is, at the end of December, really, we started creating NFTs. So now you have a JPEG file that now you can right click and you can mint. So we started in this journey of a really easy, for us, it was really important because I'm not a techie person. Like, I needed to understand the product that I was helping building, right? So, and we really just wanted to have like an offhand approach, like here's a link, sign up as a brand or as a company, as a creator. And now you can just easily, create these NFTs on your own. So we were always sort of very clear on what that experience needed to feel like. So when in the beginning of the year, Gary was smart enough, we were using Blockstack. We built our product on Blockstack before it was even Stack. So he was always kind of very visionary. I loved the whole user experience aspect, loved the UI, like, the simplicity of it. Love the fact that it was on Bitcoin. So he had his reasons, and we trusted him as a non-techie person. We said, okay, if you believe in building this product on Blockstack, then, this is what we're going to do. So, so when we entered, into the Stack's first cohort, they really wanted us to focus on like where our because we essentially had three products, right? We had this e-commerce product, we had this decentralized Dropbox sort of product, and now we had this like NFT minting at scale. So, it's the whole sort of team has been, it's been an amazing experience, completely life-changing. Like in the past 3 months, we're a completely different company. We're a completely different team. We've doubled our employees. We're raising fund. I mean, it's been incredible. And, we've talked to probably close to 200 creators, from just like, here I'm minting by myself, to agencies that represent brands, 40, 50 brands at a time. And we keep hearing the same pain points that, we want to get into the space, but it's super complicated. Like we don't have the time to spend right now to read all the papers and figure out how to do it. Yes, we've heard about OpenSea, and we can go in OpenSea, but do I now need to get my ETH wallet? And how do I get a wallet? And how do I connect these things? When I buy an NFT, how do I? So there's a lot of confusion, and we just want to make the process as simple as possible. So we've kind of like here, the core is we have a great user experience that even your grandmother can mint. You literally drag and drop, you right click and mint. You create a storefront in seconds that you can now share with your community. That doesn't have to be a crypto community. You can share it with your cousin that's maybe interested in buying your artwork, or interested in seeing what you're doing on the branding side. So there's a lot of the frictions are cut, and then you have this very simple USD credit card checkout. So yes, you can connect your Stacks wallet if you're in the community, so you know how to do that already. But we're going after the early majority. Like, we want to talk to the people that are outside of community and start bringing in other types of people into the space. So yeah, that's kind of my long and short story.
Yeah. I know it's so needed, because my background is as a filmmaker, and so I shoot music videos for local artists, and I share my videos on Dropbox, so I'm very familiar with, like, that's how I get my feedback, so I know what to do revisions on. But I've always been trying to think of, like, how do I add more value to my artists? Like, I make them a good promo, I make them a good video. How do I get NFTs? I know it's coming. Like, there's so much functionality, it's just so early. But it's trying to get them first on board. Like, what is an NFT? Like, that's the first question. But then how do you use it make it something they can actually sell to their fans? There's so much to do there, and it could absolutely crush if it's usable.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It's, I get these questions all the time, and we speak to a lot of different creators And the number one question, it's not just creating a platform that's easy for them to onboard with. It's also, the next question is, well, obviously the reason why they're entering the space is to make money, right? Like, you're not just creating NFTs just to create NFTs, right? You're creating NFTs to bring some kind of value to your customers, to build brand loyalty, but there has to be some kind of like exchange, monetary exchange, or you're like you're gaining something out of it. So most of the time, it's really us talking to a lot of these agencies and creatives and talking to them through the strategy, because the strategy is going to be different from a music creator to a fashion designer to just a traditional artist. So a lot of a lot of my job, basically what I'm doing right now, is reaching out to artists and having these one-on-one conversations and figuring out, as we're trying to really sort of position ourselves in this world, is, what value can we provide to you, and how can you grow your NFT business in the most efficient way, right? How can you enter in the space, but then how can you actually grow this business? And, with my background sort of in branding and then working with brands, in D2C side, and really understanding sort of what their struggles are, I think what we have become over the last few years is, we become like algorithm. We're just numbers, right? Like, as a shopper, you just become a number, right? But I think that personal connection has somehow dissipated over us, with all the AI that's happening, right? We're just being, judged, or what do we click on? So what do we, what else can we show you, right? So I think what NFTs can be is this new connection that we can make with our customers, right? If we're talking about on the branding side, right? Or if you have your followers, if you have people that have loved your music and then have been following you, well, how can you now, create these special conversations past sales, right? I think the loyalty programs, it's like they have like a 40% conversion rate. But I think with NFTs, what you can really do is, you can create conversations. You can create, okay, if you buy this NFT, you can now have access to the next gig that you're doing, the first, the next concert, you get access to the first tickets, right? Or you have, you get access to the first single. Like, there's so many different unlockable, like, I love. I get so excited about the utility aspect of NFTs. I literally, everywhere I go, like, that's the thing that comes up. Like, what can we unlock with just this one interaction? The fact that everything is, is a smart contract. I mean, so, or how can brands, for instance, you have higher price point items and you were never able to communicate with a certain audience because they weren't able to afford your $1,000 purse. But how can you now create experiences for them? And these are instant gratification experiences, right? That you can now have a new exchange, a new touch point with a whole new audience, that you weren't able to have before. So I think it's offer like instant gratification. I think is exciting. The ability to add value through like loyalty programs. That's another thing, sort of how NFTs can increase trust and create that. Then the verification of products and things like that. I think that's exciting for products that can be easily copied and so there's a whole, I can do like a whole episode on NFT and utilities.
No, I think you nailed it. Like, the thing that NFTs unlock is the creator economy at such a deeper level. And I heard someone describe like, what is a token? And their definition was, it's the way that you enter and exit a community. And like,
love it. Yeah.
NFTs are the exact same thing, where it's like a collectible, but you see people are building brand around these Bored Apes. And it's like, if you're in the system, you get different access to Discord groups, and you're like, it's just a whole different, you're actually on OpenSea and it's your account. Like, that's insane. It's like we see with sneakerheads. We're like, you have those retro Air Force whatevers, like in that colorway. You're wearing those outside. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. And NFTs are going to have that same functionality over time as we start to build more infrastructure around it.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the things that we really, the ability to have your own storefront, right? Like your own gallery page, because now as a buyer, right? Like, so let's get into the storefront aspect of it, because what we have found is that for the bigger brands, right? For them to really think about, okay, which marketplace are we entering, right? Which marketplace, because once you enter a certain marketplace, this is where you're staying. This is where your audience is. And this is kind of where you bring people into that marketplace to have the sale. But then you're kind of, you're at the mercy of that marketplace, right? We found that having your own storefront not gives you, you now can bring people into your own space, right? And especially if you're trying to bring in communities that are outside of crypto space, I think having your own island, your own sort of customize, where you can customize a storefront, you can make it look like what you want it to be. You can have a customized, website sort of address, the URLs. So I think that these were all important things that kept coming up for the brands, is having the ability to have their own storefronts, and bringing communities into this space instead of kind of pushing everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when people ask you what Bitcoin is or what crypto is, I think digital property rights is like the most true definition. Like it really does give, it's like a deed to a house that can be then tracked back, but it's yours. Like that token is yours. But I want to backtrack a second because we're talking a lot about NFTs, but how do you define an NFT if you're talking to your grandmother?
It's digital ownership. So if my mom still has no idea what do I do with my time. I always talk about it. I tell her that I run a technology company. That's as far as she knows. But the way I usually explain to an older generation, and they get it, is that I kind of go back to the traditional. So I say, okay, when you have a work of art, there was a piece of paperwork, so the provenance that shows that this painting belonged to someone. So this is now a digital ownership certificate that shows that you are the true owner. That's how I explain it to my mother, if she sort of took the extra step to learn. So that's the way I explain it to my kids. But kids nowadays are so smart. They understand, I have a 12 and a 10-year-old. They're all into Fortnite. I probably spent close to $100 on Fortnite skins and all the upgrades. So like they get it. And I think the future generation understands it, and they understand sort of how to interact with it. So I think we have to just educate, I'm still kind of surprised because we're sort of in this bubble. Like I talk to mostly people that know the space, so sometimes, when I speak to someone outside, it still kind of baffles me of people that don't know what NFTs are. And, so I'm like, really, how could you not? This is the future.
Yeah. And it's like, it's funny because like, growing up, we want money to go buy some new clothes so we can look fresh. And like the kids nowadays are like, no, I want the new Fortnite or League of Legends like skin so I can look cool for my friends. And that's more valuable than like a fresh, clean tee.
You know what? They have their chores, and at the end of the week, I pay them. I put money into directly on their like credit card, on their digital credit card. They don't have the physical cards; they have the digital cards, and then they get allocated, a certain amount of money depending on the task and they spend it on Fortnite skins. But the interesting part is that every time I see them play, they're always playing as girl avatars, and I say, "Why are you guys playing as girl avatars?" He was like, "They have the best skins." So I don't know, but apparently.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I just got one more question. I want to be respectful of your time. What is SatoSHE?
Yeah, so SatoSHE is a project that we are launching December 10th. Being that Layer's leadership is women-led, so it's myself and Marina Romashko and Gary Rieger. And we felt that it's important to change the current narrative and provide a platform to empower women and for more women to enter NFT space and start creating and building their businesses. So we had an interesting sort of brainstorming of what that looks like. And we decided to sort of go with this play of SatoSHE, being the fact that we're building on stacks, which is on Bitcoin. So, it's always been assumed that SatoSHE is a man, but, there's no evidence of that. So we want to challenge the conventional thinking and, explore the possibility that SatoSHE is actually female. So we are selecting artists that will be creating their sort of interpretation of what SatoSHE actually looks like. So we're actually opening up our platform tomorrow, where you can submit your your profile and your link, and sort of we'll go through the review process, and we'll give them a month to create their artwork. And on December 10th, we're going to have a virtual event in V-Space, which is another women-led company out of New York that's doing a virtual sort of events. And there's going to be women DJs, and there's going to be women charities and sort of other organizations that support women in tech. And yeah, we're hoping to sort of, introduce women into the space and bring a new sort of face to mostly male or heavily male dominated, environment.
I love it. I love the idea. Like,
Awesome.
for me, I'm someone who grew up super insecure, and over time I've realized, like, you become more confident, and you realize that mindset is so important. And I think that mindset for that kind of thing too is like, if we can empower female tech founders or other things like that to be like, yeah, you're just as good. And this is one way, like the SatoSHE flip is great. I love that. It's like, he's anonymous, but all we see is that the Asian guy that looks kind of old, and that's just, we accept it. It's like, it is what it is. And it's like, no, we got to see some dope artwork that flips on its head, and maybe we can trade the whole narrative and make SatoSHE a female. That would be dope.
Yes, thank you. I know, we're excited. We're excited as well.
Love the idea. Well, where can people find out more about you and Layer?
Yeah, so you can find Layer at all the social, we're on Twitter, we're on Discord, we're on Instagram, and you can find us at Hey Layer, or you can reach out to me directly. I host a lot of these one-on-ones, so you can email me at Alla, ALLA, at heylayer.com. And actually on Thursdays, we're going to start hosting NFT with Layer Thursdays at noon. So you can head over to our Twitter spaces. So we're going to start hosting sort of live Q&As and, keep people sort of engaged with different artists that are going to be coming on board, and, any questions, and just helping people overall sort of enter in this new space and talk about sort of exciting projects that we're going to be working on. So yeah, come join us on Twitter on Thursdays at noon, or just follow us at Hey Layer.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. What you guys are building is so needed right now. So yeah, I wish you guys all the best, and I'm excited to use it. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah.
Bye. Nice chatting with you.